Man on the plane opens the blackout panel, but a woman's shadow appears in the window. He is curious and looks out the window. A huge female ghost follows the plane. She reaches out her ghostly hands, as if to grab the man. The man is so frightened that he turns his head, but he doesn't believe it. He approaches the window again. This time he is right up against the ghost. The man is so frightened that he panics. Already nervous, he retreats, talking nonsense to the crowd. He kept shouting that there was a ghost outside. The crowd looked at him like he was a monster. Luckily, he was calmed down by the stewardess. He pushed the steward away. He went into the toilet despite the stewardess' advice. The cabin was in a panic. The couple told the stewardess it was the worst aeroplane experience they'd ever had. Man still frantically consoling himself in the lavatory. It was an accident. It was an accident. He repeats frantically. Only another female ghost appeared in the toilet man. The man went straight into a frenzy of fear. He kept hammering on the wall. He screamed and screamed. The crowd was terrified by the screams. A haze hung over the plane. The man rushes out of the toilet. He collapsed to the ground. He kept saying he had to land. Luckily, there was an Air Force Lieutenant General. He was able to control the situation, told everyone to return to their seats. He told the stewardess to bring a sedative, forced the man to take it. He then helped the calmed man to his seat. He watched over him in the back seat. One strange thing after another. This strange storm. It had just taken off and had been following the plane. The co-pilot was puzzled. The plane may have trouble escaping danger. The elderly man in the cabin had just eaten a salad. Immediately became nauseous. He can't swallow anything in his throat. The old man vomited something foreign. The salad had maggots in it. The stewardess rushed to clean up the vomit. She asked another stewardess to check the other food. Once opened, the meal was all rotten. Maggots were all over it. The stewardess was shaking with fear. They dumped all the food in the trash and explained the situation to the captain. Just then, the phone lost its signal. The plane also lost all power. The engine simply dies. As the storm raged on, the plane plunges straight down, 10,000 meters above the ground. The airliner loses power and falls, like a broken glass, shattering into pieces. The cabin is filled with screams, but the captain forces himself to stay calm, trying to turn on the auxiliary power, only to find the same failure. The captains controlled the plane upwards. The start button is repeated over and over again. The only way to get the plane back to normal is to fire it. The captain prayed for another fire. The engines scrape out a burst of fire. He tries again to connect. The engine finally comes back on. The two men lift the plane up. They manage to get out of the storm. The group survives, but the ghosts outside the plane are still watching them. This woman is locked in a small space. No matter how hard she tries, she can't get out. A strange hand appears. She opens her eyes again. She is taken to a strange place. It's dark and cold. It was filled with corpses and debris. A figure flashes past her. She returns to the mirror again. A ghost of a woman holding a child appears in the mirror. She keeps reminding the woman there is a murderer on the plane. The stewardess outside also can't open the toilet door. The air marshal comes to help. He took a crowbar and pried the door open. The woman inside was already cowering in fear. She kept saying there was something in the mirror. The stewardess couldn't comfort her. The woman's screams were so loud that the cabin was filled with people. Jack reassured his girlfriend that it wasn't anything supernatural. The ghosts had carved the word revenge into the next window. The girlfriend tried to listen to a song to calm down. Then an eerie voice comes out of her headphones. She is startled. Jack next door doesn't hear anything. The girlfriend puts the earbuds in her ears again. The sound gets louder and louder. She hurriedly pulled the earplugs out. They were already stained with blood. The stewardess reports the strange incident in the cabin to the captain, but the captain told her to calm the guests down. He understands that this is a strange trip, but a successful landing is the first goal. Lightning flashes ahead. The captain suddenly sees a group of people, but the people next to him felt strange. There was nothing there. The captain's hands are already shaking. It's a journey he'll never forget. Water begins to seep through the cabin shelves. Jack's girlfriend opens her eyes. She walks to the toilet in a daze, as if pulled by something. Jack doesn't see the difference in his girlfriend. The image on his phone changed. All he could see on his phone was an off-white picture. Isn't that the embryo of a baby? The woman walks to the bathroom. She asks the steward to leave the door open. She stares blankly into the mirror across the room. A strange sound surrounds her ears. She returns to her boyfriend. Jack, still in a trance. Her boyfriend shouting before coming to her senses. The woman tries to open the luggage rack, but a ghostly hand grabs her. The woman falls down in fear and falls into another world. The baby's cries come from all sides. The ghost holding the baby reaches out and pushes her. The woman falls back into the real world. The woman has the cabin crew in a panic. The bald man even tries to tie the woman up. The Air Force Lieutenant General saves the day just in time to keep everyone sane and back in their seats. The crowd had just settled down. A female ghost appeared out of nowhere. Half of her face was completely destroyed, with only the whites of her eyes. She walked straight towards the crowd. crowd. She shouted and pointed forward. The lieutenant took out his pistol and confronted her, but the ghost suddenly disappeared. The crowd was frightened by the ghost. The flight attendant rushed into the cockpit, explaining the strange happenings in the cabin. She told the captain to land the plane. The captain thought the stewardess was mentally ill. Just then, the co-pilot suddenly changed his face. His eyes were covered in black lines. He lunged at the captain. The plane was out of control. The plane tumbled through the air. The co-pilot grabbed the captain's eyes. Fortunately, the lieutenant general arrived in time. He managed to control the co-pilot. The plane regained stability. There was a lot of commotion. The people in the cabin gathered together. They decided to take a walk to find a solution. As they struggled to find a way in, the blonde man offered to go to the baggage compartment. The stuff was hidden there. The midshipman decided to trust him. With scissors, he untied the man's ties. Then we went to the luggage compartment. Just after opening the door, the sound of a baby screaming was heard. A baby's body appears in the light. It disappears in a flash. A bloody intestine is found by the group. Along it, they find a bag. They open it and find some pictures. The women inside look exactly like the ghosts. Looking through it, they find a bag of women's hair, a black hammer, a sharp knife, and finally, a certificate. The lieutenant general couldn't believe the truth. It was the captain who had done all this. He carried his bag to the cockpit in a fury, throwing the bag on the cockpit, forcing the captain to explain everything. The captain was so angry he couldn't believe it, threatening the crowd that only he could fly the plane. He refused to admit that he was the killer. In the face of the pressure, the captain gradually lost his grip. He pushes down on the control stick. The plane descended rapidly, preparing to dive with the passengers. The plane is in chaos. The ghosts take advantage of the situation. A dark, gray aura moves through the crowd. If it possessed them, they would be controlled. They cry out for revenge, attacking everyone around them indiscriminately. The darkness eventually finds Jack's girlfriend. She found her revenge. She pulls the captain out of his seat. The captain is overpowered by the combined forces. Ties were locked around his hands. The lieutenant general prepared to put him on trial when he got off the plane, but the plane is hit by a thunderstorm. The captain took the opportunity to break free. Little did he know that the Avengers would follow. The ghosts slowly approached. The captain was surrounded by them. Before revealing the crazy truth, he was the serial killer. The ghosts suddenly disappeared. The captain struggled with him. The gun was eventually taken from him. In the nick of time, the ghosts reappeared. She took control of the captain's hand, moves the pistol to his temple. A shot was fired. The captain is killed by the Fuyuki.